Hey, Eric.
Yes.
Guess what?
What?
It's time for Primetime Crisis.
All right.
That's what time it is. We're going to talk about some TV shows.
But we already reviewed Crisis.
We're going to review, not only are we doing a show called Primetime Crisis, but I'm going to review another thing that is leading to a version of Crisis on Infinite Earths. So I'm going to talk about that here in a minute. Eric, what do we want to talk about first? Why don't we knock out the last movie of Godzilla Netflix?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And I should have done that in movies, but I keep putting that in this because I keep forgetting that it's not a TV show.
No, it's a movie.
Yeah, no, it is a movie.
Planet Eater.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I loved it.
Did you?
Okay, well, so here's the thing. The thing that's going to hurt that movie, especially in rewatches, is that I don't care until Ghidorah shows up. But once Ghidorah does show up, I think it's amazing. And like, even the stuff where you said like it was kind of losing you, where like the bad guy just keeps speechifying, I thought was amazing. Okay, so
some of it is like an American versus Japanese sensibility thing for me, where I mean like the pacing. I mean, like I have liked these movies okay, but especially here, it's really slow. It's all philosophy driven.
It feels like a novel. It's interesting because in
some places it feels like a paper, even before it feels like a novel. But yeah,
well, it's interesting because with the first one, I was like, well, it makes sense that you would do this as an anime because Japan doesn't have the budget to do this as a movie. By the time I got to the third movie, I was like, so this is Godzilla as like a hard science fiction novel written in 1968. The biggest criticism I have for this is one, the graphics are still bad.
And I don't have that problem. That's really funny.
Right. And I get used to the human characters. It looks like they can't animate Godzilla and Ghidorah exactly great. So like the fight between Godzilla and Ghidorah is Godzilla going like this, and Ghidorah like latching himself onto. Like it just looks stiff.
Well, and they're not about the action. So much of it is symbolic. I mean, like you don't
like
even,
he's just standing there.
Yeah, it's all
while we explain it and talk about it.
Like I didn't have this as much with the other two. By this one, I'm not sure we even need a visual component to tell this story.
Yeah, which is why I think it should be a novel.
Yeah.
Again, but like that was my thing with the first one. I was like, okay, so we're doing a big science fiction thing, and you don't have the budget to do that in live action. But by the time I get to the third one, I'm like, this should have been a book. It's all about the ideas. So the top thing that I have to talk about this movie is this movie has the single best representation I have ever seen of a godlike being. When he shows up, because we always do this, or like a Lovecraftian, like beyond your comprehension kind of thing. We always talk about things like that, and they show up. And it's like Galactus, right? Where it's like you can't begin to comprehend the big purple man, and he shows up and he like breaks them because he needs a planet.
You just keep listening to the human characters trying to explain what's happening, and sometimes they're wrong.
Well, there's a bit later, kind of like when Ghidorah stops, I don't exactly... There's explanations for things where I'm like, I bet you that makes more sense in Japanese. I don't fully know what's happening.
Yeah.
But before we get to that, when Ghidorah attacks the space station, it's amazing. Like, that is, to me, I've never seen anything depicted like that, where he's so powerful, and he's so beyond this realm of reality, that space and time folds around him, so that people and sometimes we do like the thing. This is like the Dragon Ball Z thing. I think we do this in Star Trek sometimes too, where it's like I can't the readings are off the chart. Like the machine explodes. We don't do that here. The readings are nothing because time is warping around it. It literally can't read it, and there's a point.
Yeah, we can see it, but none of the instrumentation picks up on it.
And there's a point where because again, time is literally warping around this thing because of how powerful it is. They can see that the life signs for where they are is 0 because it's the future. Like, they already know that they're going to die because...
Yeah, that was amazing.
It's amazing!
That's really cool.
And like, that whole sequence is like that, where it's like, I've never seen anything depicted like that. Like, it was incredible. I know when we get to Earth, we just kind of keep doing stuff like that, but sometimes we forget exactly how powerful he is.
And I think that was also dealing with like the thematic idea that part of the human condition is to destroy ourselves.
Yeah. So the big idea that we get to at the end of this movie is that at least as far as these aliens believe, the point of existence for human beings is that we would evolve to a place where we would create something like Godzilla, a great destroyer like Godzilla. And we create Godzilla so that we can have enough hate for what it is and how it destroys that we would allow Ghidorah to come into this universe to destroy Godzilla, and in doing so, allow Ghidorah to destroy the entire universe. That humanity's hatred will lead to the death of all of reality. And it's also tied into technological advancement, which the film is kind of very anti. Like,
yeah.
The movie makes a very strong statement that we've gone too far and we need to go back.
And you said while we were watching it that it's taking the metaphor and the ideas in the original movie and taking it to its furthest possible extent.
Yeah. And I thought that was incredible. And there's a point where I think the movie's over and it keeps going. And
then I'm like, oh yes, of course, it can't be over.
Yeah. And that guy represents the last, like, of humanity's hatred for Godzilla, so, like, he has to die, and he takes the last of the technology with him, and, like, all of that. I thought this movie was genius. It's not the most entertaining thing on the planet, and this entire trilogy isn't the most entertaining thing on the planet. It's not what I usually come to Godzilla for, but it is a hard science fiction. This whole trilogy is a hard science fiction take on the Godzilla concept, and I appreciate the diversity of that versus other depictions of Godzilla.
It's real ambitious idea-wise. Like, it's like Watchmen. It wants to be about everything.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, all the religion versus science stuff that we were talking about with the last movie, it continues all the way through this. We're doing a lot of even, like, you know, ends justifies the means. I mean, it's everything is here.
Well, and I like that it's a discussion of religion versus science, and it settles on both are bad. You should not have religion or science. And usually,
at least you shouldn't take your science too far. Like,
it kind of seems like we just shouldn't have science.
Well, yeah, because the idea seems to be if we start to develop anything, inevitably the human condition is we're going to go too far with it,
and we will make it destructive. We can
right.
You start with the good, pure scientific idea. Eventually, it will lead to war.
Yeah,
and it will lead to death and destruction. And that, unfortunately,
our
that's
hatred destroys
just how we. Unfortunately, that's just how we are.
But it also kind of treats it like the human condition is a cycle, where like we keep starting over. Like the sense I got from the end of it was the idea is like all of this will happen again.
I read it more ambiguous.
Okay.
So I think there are two ways to interpret the ending. I think the first way is that he's taking the technology away and he's delaying the inevitable.
Yeah.
I think the second, more optimistic interpretation is possibly he takes away the technology and maybe this time we'll do it better. I think it could go either way. I think you can interpret it either way. I think.
Yeah, perhaps so.
But
it's just most of the main characters in this are really misguided at best. There's not a lot of reason to have any hope for humanity in this particular universe.
But the thing is that the main character realizes that about himself, and that's why he kills himself at the end. Is that
and then he's gone.
Yeah.
He's the one person that figured it out, and he's gone.
Right, but he was also the one that was the most hateful and the most wrong-headed. All the people up the spaceship died.
That's true.
Like,
so that's what,
like I think there's kind of hope for humanity. I think there could be hope for humanity, or you could also see it as a cyclical, like. But no, I loved it. I thought it was great. It's probably my favorite of the three.
It broke my brain. Like, it's one of those things that I just need. I just wanted to sit down and look at again at some point if I was like really gonna just spend time with it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I was in the mood for that day. It was just too heavy. You know. Right then, we keep watching these late at night. That is not the time to watch a thing like this. But like I like a lot of the big ideas. It's just I don't find it especially watchable.
Yeah, I don't know how rewatchable these will be. Like, I don't know how often I'll go back to these. But at least as a first-time watcher, I thought it incredibly compelling. Even when I'm trying to figure out some of the science stuff, where they're like, how does it know that, if we don't know that it exists in our reality, how does it know that Godzilla exists here without it being guided? And I'm like, I bet you this makes sense in Japanese. I bet you we had a really hard time translating this. But even through that, like I thought it was really compelling. I really liked it. So yeah.
We have seen now the first 4 episodes of The Orville for this season, and there's a new one out that we've not watched yet.
Is it 4 or is it 3?
It's 4.
Okay.
It's 4. We're up to 5 already. Remember the first week they aired 2.
Yeah, but I thought we only watched 1. Oh no, we watched 2. Yes, of course.
4.
Yes, of course.
Yeah, because
Okay.
we watched the first 2 when they came out, and then
And the Laura episode where she leaves, and then the episode.
Right,
Yes,
the next one.
yeah.
Yep. Okay. So anyway, how do you feel about the beginning of the season? Which I guess it's probably like a quarter to a third of the way through already, but yeah.
So I think the first 2 episodes are weak season starters.
Yeah.
They're not bad episodes, but they don't belong at the beginning of the season. I feel like the 4th episode should have been the season premiere.
The more I thought about it, I think the porn addiction episode might be legitimately bad.
Oh, you think so?
Yeah. Yeah, the more I thought about it, the more I don't like how they handled that. It should have been a metaphor. It's weird how it plays like it's gonna be, and then they just straight up start talking about porn addiction. I think it's too on the nose. I think it's too obvious.
Okay. I didn't. Yeah, I don't know.
It rubbed me the wrong way.
Yeah.
There are things in it that are funny, and there are places where it's handled okay, but like...
See, what I really like about the episode, or what really resonated with me about the episode, where I can't call it a bad episode, is that it ties back to the thing that happened with their kid, and that's the start of all this, and the break of their relationship.
I bought that it would happen that way. It was just the way we kept talking about it was real super on the nose.
You're not wrong. But I thought it was funny in the moment.
Because I was with it for a while, where I was like, oh cool, this is how we're gonna handle like the porn addiction topic, and then they just start talking about it the exact same way we would talk about it now, which is part of the problem with this future where it's like everybody grew up in the 20th century and then they just jumped ahead 300 years. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That has been a real problem for the internal logic of that show.
Yeah, and I've just gotten used to it at this point.
Yeah, I am too. But the problem is, usually we use it for comedy, and I can dismiss it more when it's just for like a joke. It's still kind of a problem, but it's funny and whatever. Mm-hmm. But there we were using it for drama, and so I thought that was kind of problematic.
That's fair. I didn't take issue with it, but I haven't really thought that much since we watched it. Have you watched it like a second time?
No, I just thought about it.
Okay. Yeah, the only like real thing that sticks with me about the episode is one, how uncomfortable and weird it is seeing that many Bortuses like almost naked. I was like, this is weird. But also, just I thought going back and explaining the break in the relationship, I thought that was really good. I really liked that.
That works
because I didn't expect that. I thought it was just gonna be like a got bored thing. I didn't expect him to be like. No, this roots in season 1 where we did this thing with our...
Also, the ritual homicidal divorce is really funny.
It is really funny. I really like that.
I feel like we're riffing on the Klingons really hard with Bortus' species because when you look at everything we know about them now, that whole society should have fallen apart hundreds of years ago. Like, they should not still be alive, and the Klingons are the exact same way. Mm-hmm. Remind me what even happens in the episode that opens it. It's another like bottle show, mostly romance, nothing's really going on kind of episode, isn't it?
That's the episode where we meet the
guy that the first officer dating?
The new boyfriend. The new boyfriend. First officer, so I couldn't think of. Yeah. That's the new boyfriend episode.
Yeah. And that was the episode that they shot for last season, but then they saved to start this season with.
But why? It's not like it's so good that we had to hold on to it. We're like, because we suspected that like maybe it's something that would be a real big ending, but an even bigger beginning. It's not.
I think the reason they saved it was because it would have been 2 of those kind of episodes in a row. Because the episode right before it is another bottle show, not a whole lot is going on kind of episode. I think that's probably the reason they split it up.
There's a conversation in this that needs to happen that she shuts down and doesn't let happen. Where he's talking about their relationship and he's like, but if 2 people love each other, they should be together. And she's like, well, it's more complicated than that because, like, time has passed, and I don't feel like she's willing to actually have the conversation about, like, okay, so if I was under an influence, and that's why I cheated on you, like, I don't know, it's a real complicated situation because she's already dating somebody else, but, like, there needs to be an actual conversation about it. And he tries, and she just shuts him down and acts like he's acting like a child. He is a little bit, but...
I don't even completely agree with that. I think we've already gotten past it, and they already did an episode about why they can't be together, and they keep backtracking for the sake of perpetual drama between them, and it's not working. Like, I feel like if that conversation hasn't happened, they got past it already, and it doesn't need to happen now. The episode at the end of last season was... they're thinking about getting back together, trying to have a date together, and then getting to the end of the episode and deciding that he's gonna make the wrong call when she goes on away missions and stuff. And
I'd forgotten about that.
Yeah, that's the one where she where she goes to that planet that where time moves at a different rate. And she accidentally becomes a god to their people. And the thing is, the end of that episode doesn't work at all. I like that episode up until the last 30 seconds, which I have said a lot with this show. It's a problem. There are several episodes where the last minute, or there's a couple, where the last minute really kills it. But she leaves, or she goes down to the planet, and she has an interaction with a little kid, and she saves this little kid. And if she hadn't saved the little kid, she would have died, but she wrote the Prime Directive. And we don't even have a different thing to call the Prime Directive in this show, so I'm just going to say Prime Directive. But he doesn't...
The big rule.
Yes. He doesn't tell the Admiral about it.
Yes.
Because
I forgot about that.
She wouldn't just get drummed out of the service, she would go to prison.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, the end of that episode... they decide that they can't, and mostly Kelly, they can't be together because he's going to make decisions like that on behalf of her because they're together. My counter is, he would have done that for anyone on that ship. They would have gone to prison.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, regardless of that, they already have, like, a solid reason that they can't be together on that ship. Mm-hmm. Why do they keep going back to it?
I don't know. I'd forgotten that discussion happens.
One of them needs, if they want to be serious about it, they either have to have a long distance relationship, or one of them needs to leave the service.
Mm-hmm.
That conversation, and you're done. So, like, I'm just frustrated that we're still going back to it.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway,
that's fair.
And then we have the episode where we write Alara off because that actress is on another show now.
Which is not a comedy. Not
even a little bit. And what's fun about it is you've got the Doctor from Voyager, once again, Robert Picardo, playing her father, and then you have John Billingsley playing the bad guy in that episode, who, spoiler alert, you don't even know is the bad guy until a few minutes in, and he's horrifying.
Yeah.
And he plays Phlox in Enterprise, so you got dueling doctors, it's awesome. It's pretty good.
Yeah, it is pretty good.
I don't totally buy the ending.
The
I had this a
ending
lot.
Feels like a reshoot. It feels like we made this episode, realized she had to leave, and we're like, well, this is the best place to get rid of her. I don't buy her decision.
I don't think that's what happened, but that's what it watches like.
Yeah, I don't buy her decision, but other than that, the episode's really good, but it's not funny.
Like,
it's not a comedy. It's just Star Trek.
Yeah. No, it's like a better Enterprise episode. And it's weird because there's an Enterprise episode that does some of the type of torture stuff that episode does, but with Phlox on the other side of it, that's messed up.
Yeah.
It's really good. And then the last episode we watched, remind me. It's not even coming to me right now.
Well, we haven't talked about Patrick Warburton at all.
We haven't. Patrick Warburton is introduced in the Laura leaving episode.
Yeah, and he seems to be a replacement. So this is the.
No, he seems like a gag, but
this is the pilot wants to be more than just a pilot. He wants to be a captain. He has to learn the lesson of like.
Oh yeah.
What being a captain is like. Boy, it's late. I'm having trouble coming up with the A plot, because that's the B plot.
Yeah, me too. What else is going on in that episode?
Oh!
Why is it not coming to us?
Because this should have been the season opener. It's the
Krill
episode.
And it's really
the
good.
Krill episode. Yeah, it's really good.
No. Yeah, I forgot all about that.
I called that twist.
You did. Real quick, too.
I was like, oh, she's evil.
You've got the girl that he's dating, and she was only introduced like an episode earlier.
If at all. Oh, no, I think she's in the previous episode for like 6 seconds.
Yeah. Well, because I thought she was the dark matter expert.
Right? I'm not sure.
Because we had a female dark matter expert in the previous episode, and I thought that's what we said she was here, but...
You might be right.
But anyway, and it turns out...
It's not important.
It turns out that she's been, that she's a Krill, and she's been pretending to be human. She mentions that she got... That she had to get, like, really painful surgery to look human, and the surgery to get back to looking Krill happens real fast if it's that painful, because it's, like, between scenes.
Yeah.
I thought that was really funny.
But
all the stuff about, like her taking in... Like 20th century entertainment, and like, did you enjoy any of it? And the whole thing with Billy Joel, I thought that was all great.
My problem,
I really liked the Billy Joel song at the end, and how it was basically everything she was. The second verse doesn't work as well as the first verse, but I thought that was really classy. I like that a lot.
The problem was, so whatever movie she says she likes, I forget what it is, but she like reviews it wrong. Like it's like the looking at Cry Kid and thinking.
Yeah, but like, oh no, this guy was the hero.
Yeah.
It was the villain. I forgot.
Okay, so that's fine. The problem is, we also know she watched Taxi Driver, and I don't believe she didn't like Taxi Driver.
That's true. Like, that was kind of fun. The one with the taxi driver. It was called Taxi Driver.
Yeah. There's like weird issues. It's a thing we always have with this, where it's like it gets away with things as a comedy, but like,
yeah.
How long did she infiltrate that ship? What, did they doctor her backstory, or is she a real, or did she become a real person?
They made it seem like she completely created that character from scratch.
How'd she get on the ship?
The bigger issue for me is how she doctored records going all the way back to the Union. I didn't buy that. That just seemed way too easy.
No.
But you're right. This show does seem to coast sometimes on, well, like, nobody will think about the logical fallacies because it's just a comedy. But it isn't.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that's the problem with most of the show.
Yeah.
Is that...
This is the biggest issue with it.
It's a comedy except for when it isn't, and it isn't a comedy except for when it wants to be.
Yeah. And yet it's not stopping me from watching it.
No, it's always enjoyable. I always enjoy... Even the porn addiction episode I enjoyed watching.
Yeah.
This is the best episode, I think, of the 4, and should have been the season opener.
I think so,
I think
too.
it's a mistake that's
well,
not the
I
season
really
opener.
expected to open up with a bang, and there'd be, some kind of big Krill plot.
Yeah.
It just... So far, until then, it has kind of felt like just more first season. And I don't mean to say that there has to be some kind of, like, big distinguishing thing between seasons of TV shows, where, like, it's working, so, like, you don't necessarily...
We thought season 1 would be a good start
wheel.
for a potentially great series.
Yeah.
And it feels like more of the same good series.
And we're still doing really fun deep pull references for TNG and beyond. I really like that. And we're doing a nice job of, like, blending different concepts from different episodes together to create something, a little bit fresher. But I like that joke about how, lately it seems like all we do is go check in on people. Like, we never explore anymore.
Yeah, that was pretty great. It's the open where it's like, well, we've dropped this off wherever. He's like, again? How are we supposed to explore anything if we're just delivery guys?
Yeah, he's like, we're just taking pizzas places.
And his stuff was good. He's
always good.
Him becoming a captain just to like hit on chicks, that was fun.
Yeah, no, it was fun. I think eventually they're gonna go farther with that.
Yeah.
Well, I think he'll probably try to. He'll either try to stay in the command program, or they'll decide that, like, that's the big difference between him and the engineer guy.
Mm.
Don't you think?
Is that he doesn't actually want to advance?
Yeah.
He is good being just one of the best pilots.
And that maybe not everyone has the same kind of aptitudes.
Mm-hmm.
Or, like, you may not be cut out for this.
Mm-hmm.
Not everybody should be cut out for command.
Yeah.
I didn't like that Deanna Troi went through the command program. She just doesn't seem cut out for it.
And
we do a whole episode about how she's not cut out for it, and then not too long after that, she's in the command program. I'm like, no.
But it's also... like nowhere in her career path. You go from therapist to...
It almost seems like she's bored and she just wants to try something new.
However...
Have you seen Disaster yet?
No, I don't think so.
With the kids that Picard has to spend the whole episode with?
Yes. I think we watched that together.
Yeah, I forgot. The executive officer in charge of radishes?
Yes.
Troy, and that's where I'm getting off saying there's a whole episode about how she's not cut out for command, where she just has to spend the whole time listening to Ro and I think O'Brien bicker about what to do. Where he's like, okay, you're technically in charge. She's like, I don't know what to do in this situation, and she has a really hard time making calls. And I guess by the end she starts actually making calls. So maybe the idea is that she's getting closer to being better at that. But she sucks like a man.
I love the pilot in that the simulation where he has to like deal with the krill attack in the simulation.
It's really funny.
It's really funny. Well, like we've got like a really good diet, and so no, it's really good.
And he just busts out the Corbomite maneuver. He's like, well, we got this new weapon. We don't detect that weapon. Yeah, but we got it.
It's good.
Yeah, that was pretty great. Okay, Eric, I watched this with you, but you'll have more to say about this.
Okay.
Because I haven't seen hardly any of the second season of Young Justice, but tell us a little bit about the first arc of
3 episodes?
Yeah, 3 episodes of Young Justice Outsiders. There is more of it that has dropped. We've not watched any more of it. We just watched the first 3. You initially had said you were going to wait until it all dropped, but since they're doing it in arcs, you weren't sure.
Well, at least they're doing it in larger chunks.
Yeah.
I don't want to watch it week to week.
Right.
As like one, but like if it's like a couple episodes each week.
Well, but again, they seem to be dropping it in arcs. Like, they drop the first 3 at once, and then they drop the next 3, I think, all at once. Like they're not dropping single episodes at all. It's always like a chunk.
Well, right, but I don't know if it's going to be, if like each time it'll be like an arc of like 3.
It seems like that's what they're doing.
I mean, even if they release 3 episodes every time, I don't know if, like, this was one story across 3 episodes. I don't know if each time it'll be one story across 3 episodes.
Like I said, I think that's the idea.
Okay.
I may be wrong.
Okay.
But I think that's intentionally why they're dropping more than one.
That's going to disappoint me.
Why?
Because they're great at single episodes.
Well, maybe they'll do something, I don't know.
And they're great at juggling a lot of plots and like...
I could be wrong. I haven't watched any more than the first 3.
Okay.
But just the way they were dropping it, I assume that's why, but maybe I'm wrong. People watching will know already.
It's also like...
But, yeah.
It also was already like one of like most watched streaming something.
Really?
I saw something about it. People are watching it, which is good. Because he said if we want more seasons, people have to be watching it, and legally. So...
Yeah, and I mean, Titans ain't doing that service any favors. So
no, and that's gonna make Titans look even worse.
Yes, it is. Especially because it deals with some of the same characters.
Yep. So the big thing is this is The Outsiders. That's not like a clever title where it's like this is a group in the DC universe, like we're kind of and like we're gonna be on the outs. Like this is The Outsiders. Didn't realize that. I didn't even know that our team would be The Outsiders. It looks like we've learned from Season 2 not to drop too many characters on top of our central cast. In Season 1, we had a central cast.
Yeah.
In Season 2, we had that central cast, and we added about 15 characters to it, and nobody got any attention. It looks like here...
This is streamlined again.
Yeah, we've... At least in these first 3 episodes, it looks like we're introducing a new cast. There are a couple of returning members from the previous seasons, but that, like... It's a more intimate, smaller group.
Yeah.
It's not the 15 characters. It looks like they learned from that, and they just got rid of other characters.
Or maybe we'll check back in with them occasionally.
Yeah.
But they're not going to be like the main people we're always following.
Yeah, that's the thing that I think we got wrong in Season 2, that it looks like we've learned
Maybe
from.
we'll do more of this later, but it's curious that Batman putting this team together, we're not seeing a lot of Batman.
It is. Because he, like, just up and quits, and then... And we're told that they're working for Batman. It's Batman's Outsiders, but we don't see him.
Yeah, he's not there. And
I mean, he's got stuff doing Gotham.
Yeah, well, and the thing is, it's not just because we're only using younger people, because we got Black Lightning there, and...
Yeah. And, I mean, Geoforce isn't that young. He's I guess he is. He's like 18 something.
It kind of feels like the Young Justice title almost doesn't apply anymore. Like, the majority of our characters are younger, but it seems like you could be any age and be on this team. It doesn't seem like we intentionally put together a team of kids.
Well, they're in universe. They're not Young Justice. They're only ever referred to as the team. They're Justice League's Black Ops team.
Yeah, but from the beginning, they they put together that team because they're too young and they're not taken seriously and they're not allowed to be on the Justice League. Like, the fact that they're young kids is important to the beginning of that story.
That's true, but in season 2, most of them are a bit older. Like, at the very least, they're older teenagers.
We got away from that.
So maybe, like, it's a title problem, but I don't know if it's a universe problem.
But I do think it's just odd. Like, I know I belabor title things, but I know it's a little... I'm just saying I think it's a little bit odd to have a show called Young Justice, and that's the only cartoon show I can think of that has a time jump between every season.
Yeah.
Kind of odd.
It also means that... Well, I guess that's not too bad. So, let's say Robin's like 14 or 15. I think we get his actual age, but I think he's like 14 or 15. He's now... 22? That's not terrible.
No, that's not terrible.
Yeah, that one's only 22. That's not bad.
He's still young. We couldn't call a show Teen Titans and have a 2-year time jump.
Yeah.
Between every season.
Yeah. I mean, I guess young is relative, right? Because Justice League keeps getting older, too.
Well, sure. That's absolutely true. But anyway.
I mean, we watched a little bit ago. I don't have a lot to say. It's good. It's a good start. It didn't blow me away.
I was excited that it was the same show.
But Greg Weisman things rarely start with a bang.
Well, yeah, it took me a while to get into the first season.
Yeah, it's all about the build. And so, it feels better than season 2, we will see.
Yeah.
I didn't have the thing I had with season 2 where, like, the second I started, I was like, everything is wrong. Which I think is kind of the point, but I didn't have that this time. Which I guess they're not doing it this time. The violence is done very well and feels like it could have been there in the original show. It is more adult in that there is blood, but it feels like they would have done that if they could have in the first place.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like all of a sudden they're just, there's no restrictions. We can have swears and nudity and yeah. It feels like the show that they would have made in the first place if they had.
It's not gratuitous. They're not running away with themselves just because they don't have censorship.
No, the way I described it when we were discussing it while we were watching it is that it feels like a comic book.
Yes.
Like if you were to read a comic book in the 80s or 90s, it was always more violent and sexually explicit than it would be in a cartoon. But not so much that you would be uncomfortable with a kid reading it.
Yeah.
That's what this feels like. So, yeah, I liked it. I'm excited to see more of it.
Yeah, I never had heard of Geoforce, and then we read Crisis, and I've seen Geoforce like twice.
Yep. And his sister is Terra, I'm interested to know if we do something with that.
I imagine they would. I also like that the genetic engineering plot feels like kind of a bookend, kind of returning back to where we were at the beginning of the first season.
Mm-hmm. With Superboy.
Like, in some ways, it feels like the first season, the beginning of the first season matured. Mm-hmm. And I think that's interesting. Because it felt a lot like that Cadmus stuff.
Now, you don't know what happens at the end of season 2.
I don't.
But
I will get there.
There are no mentions of it. So I'm interested to know if we are not doing that this season, or if we're just not there yet. But
is it like a major character death, or? Well,
there was a major character death, but luckily for you, because we kind of immediately get away from most of the team, you don't know who it is.
Yeah.
But no, the end of season.
I mean, I know some of who it can't be now.
That's true.
You know.
But the end of season 2 kind of. Like, there's a final shot, and like you're like, okay, so next time this is what we're doing, and it's not here, and I don't know if we're just not going to get there yet, or if we're just going to keep. I'm just going to tell you, 'cause it's not important. It's Darkseid.
Oh yeah, you know what? You've told me this too. Yeah.
So the end of season 2 is like we go to Apocalypse, it's Darkseid, and he's involved, and there's no Apocalypse stuff in this, so.
But
and that's not a problem.
It could show up later.
I'm curious to know if this season is going to the resolution of that, or if that Darkseid stuff might be like the season arc. Because we do some of that stuff in season 1 too.
Yeah.
I don't know if the New God stuff is going to be the series arc.
And could they be hedging their bets that they're going to get a 4th season?
I don't think Greg Weisman hedges his bets on anything, because this is the first time he's ever made it past 2 seasons.
Yeah, but
he always plans big.
But that's what I'm saying, is that he has before. I mean, like, because Ultimate Spider-Man doesn't have an ending, and I'm sorry,
Spectacular
Spider-Man doesn't have an ending.
Yeah, he always has big plans, and then they always get screwed.
Yeah.
But this might be the time we finally get to see, what if he sucks at endings? What if we find out we've just never known?
He said that's why he doesn't do them, because he can't end things.
I've never had to write an ending before.
Eric, I got a couple things that I want to mention just real briefly. I've watched a lot of things on my own. I did a lot more. You read a lot of comics. I did a lot more TV stuff. I've been watching, and again, these are mostly just going to be quick recommendations. I've been watching Green Lantern, the animated series with Jason. I'm about 9 episodes in. It only got 1 season, but it's like 22, 23 episodes. So I'm glad that it got as long of a run as it did. But I'm already sad that it didn't get a second season. Although a lot of what I'm interested in is the Red Lanterns, and I'm sure they would not be the main villains for 2 seasons.
I think they said I want to say I read somewhere that season 2 would have been Sinestro Corps.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. Either that or you do like a Blackest Night thing where you bring in more of the... Like, I could have seen and I don't know how the season ends, I could have seen a cliffhanger where we just open up a Spectrum, and we do like a whole Spectrum, or maybe Spectrum War or something. We do a whole thing like that. But anyway, honestly, I don't read Green Lantern. I don't know what Spectrum War is or if it's later than that. I'm pretty sure it's later than that. But anyway, I like it a lot. I don't care about Green Lantern, and it immediately got me engaged. It's a real light science fiction kind of show. In some ways, it feels like, and I know you like the show more than me, but in some ways, it feels like what I wished Star Wars Rebels had been at the beginning. I know that show gets better, but it kind of comes out of the gate swinging, and it's not too slow. There aren't a lot of episodes that are throwaway and I feel are super skippable. It does a lot of 1 and done episodes where it's building a larger story in the background, but episodes are self-contained. But you'll have episodes that you don't think... Not like every episode is supremely important, and you do a lot of character building episodes, but they'll do an episode where you think it's like a real simple, like normal sci-fi premise, and then it turns out that it's introducing a major component to the show or something. I'll spoil this. There's one episode where we're waiting to see somebody. We lose a Green Lantern, and not like a major character in the show. We also, by the way, destroy an entire planet the first episode and kill off characters, and that's fun. So it feels like there's stakes right away.
I don't remember that from watching the first episode. Like, oh, this opens hardcore.
Yeah, it's great. But there's a Green Lantern that dies, and you're waiting to see who the Ring is going to choose, right? And there's this character who has manipulated everything, hoping to get the Green Lantern ring, and of course it doesn't pick them, because they're awful. And, by the way, one issue I have with this show is I think... I'm only 9 episodes in, but I think it a little bit... I guess I'm almost halfway through, though. I think a little bit too often it does... the double cross thing, where there's a character that's introduced, like a one and done character that you think is your friend and turns out to be your enemy. We do that a little too often in the show. But because we do it so often, occasionally we will introduce a character that we think that's going to happen with and ends up just being our friend. But anyway, so there's this ring floating around and we wonder who it's going to pick. And at the end, it picks the planet and it creates Mogo. And that's awesome. That's pretty fun. Yeah. So we do some fun things like that. There's this real epic episode, I think 7 or 8, where we finally go to the Red Lantern homeworld and we do a big battle with Atrocitus and the rest of the Red Lanterns, and it's just really exciting and twisty and turny, and it's got a pretty good AI character. Who's like the AI of the ship, and you think that she's just gonna keep talking to us through the computer, and then like 3 or 4 episodes in, she decides to create her own body so she can try to become a Green Lantern. And that's a lot of fun, and so you got kind of a data thing with that, where like instead of trying to become human, she wants to be a Green Lantern, and I like that a lot. I don't usually like Hal Jordan in things. He's pretty good in this.
Is it anybody notable voicing him?
You know, I knew you were going to ask me that. I've not looked it up.
Okay.
I'd have to look it up. I don't know. I don't immediately recognize any of the voices. I honestly haven't even thought about it. But yeah, he's... he's got that, like, real cocky, like, borderline womanizer thing that Hal Jordan usually has, but there's always consequences to it when it comes up, and he's, like, actually a good leader and has his heart in the right place, and he's creative enough with his constructs. Sometimes an issue the show will have, too, with the rings is there will be plenty of time to stop yourself at a fall or something with your ring, and they'll just crash into the ground. But just make a trampoline or something! What are you doing? But Jason and I have been enjoying it a lot. I think you really like it. It's one of those things, like, it's a Bruce Timm team show, and it feels like it should be in that universe, except it's 3D animation. The 3D looks, the animation looks really good. Atrocitus' model is different than in the comics. I don't know why we changed him, but nobody else. It's kind of strange. I don't love his design, but anyway. But I got Red Lanterns, and it's cool because they're the main bad guys for the season, but we take a prisoner at the beginning that's Razor, and he ends up being part of our crew. He's, like, kind of reluctantly working with us, and it's one of those we don't know if we can trust him or not. Pretty quickly we discover that we can trust him. But he's a real tragic character. The ending of the last episode I watched is great. It's real knife twisty, where he keeps having to save the Red Lantern. He doesn't want to be a Red Lantern anymore, but he still has enough rage where he's able to be, and he uses the power, and he needs the power to be in this war and fight the Red Lanterns, right? Mm-hmm. So every time he's got to recharge his ring, he has to say the Red Lantern oath, and he's got to say things in the oath that he doesn't believe in, and it's all about revenge and hurting people, and it's terrible, and it bothers him that he has to keep saying this. And the AI chick, her name is Aya. They take AI and they flip it. She comes up with this rhythmic thing where she thinks she can change the words of the oath, but still be able to recharge the ring. So he tries it, and he tells her it works, and then she leaves, and then he just does the real oath because it doesn't work. And I'm like, oh, it's great.
That's really good. That's really good.
So I recommend that show a lot. It's on DC Universe. So it is a reason to pay for DC Universe for a month and binge it. And then I guess I will briefly talk about the SCW crossover from this year. I finally watched that, or I guess from the beginning of this year, end of last year, whatever it was. So they called it Elseworlds, and it was between 3 of the series. It didn't include Legends. And the whole thing, it turns out, is kind of just a setup to do their version of Crisis on Infinite Earths. They introduced Psycho Pirate. They don't actually call him by name, but you can tell it's Psycho Pirate because he's got his mask. And right at the very beginning, they introduced the Monitor. And what sets up this whole situation in the first place is apparently the Monitor's going around different universes and giving, like, some crazy guy in each universe the Book of Destiny, and letting him shape the universe any way he wants to shape it, to, like, meddle with things and make heroes come out of the woodwork and try to see who is worthy to help him save the multiverse. And my thought is, that takes too long. Why would you do it like that? The way the Monitor does it in the original Crisis makes a lot more sense than this. And even that's real arbitrary, and I don't know why you're picking who you're picking. But at least you just go grab random people and you don't make them, like, have to prove themselves. Yeah.
I mean, that is the plot of the 90s Spider-Man cartoon.
No, that is... Yeah, and this is about on that level. No, that's maybe a little bit above this. So he goes
that
to... That
music would fit perfectly in the CW show.
Oh, I want to do that. I want to go in and edit that. That's great. Anyway, so...
when they get married.
Naturally, in our universe, I guess Earth 1, the Monitor chooses the absolute least creative, psychotic person he can find. And it's this guy who was, of course, a Lost alum who played kind of a crazy scientist guy there. And I liked him there. And he lives in Gotham, and he is a science professor. And he's been going around trying to do lectures telling people that we need to do genetic engineering to give people superpowers because we have all these people that are getting superpowers. And his whole prevailing character trait seems to be he wishes he was a superhero. And he takes the Book of Destiny and he tries to make him... I think the idea is he tries to make himself the Flash, but he does it wrong. So instead of becoming the Flash, somehow it makes Barry and Oliver switch bodies.
Oh, it's not even an Elseworlds story.
No, it's not. Yeah, that's what they do with it.
I have the Book of Destiny.
But, yeah, I know, I did that too. But here's what's annoying about it. It is and it's not an Elseworlds story. So you would think it is the most awkward way to do a body switch I've ever seen. The reason you've never seen anyone try it this way is because it's stupid. So what they do is they make it Elseworldsy because you know how Flashpoint changed like 2 tiny things? Mm-hmm. This is him changing a tiny thing. He doesn't act... It isn't... We don't get to see those actors play each other.
Oh.
Yeah. This will not make sense to you even after I've explained it.
Okay.
Okay? What they do is...
Because I've seen them in each other's costumes.
Yeah.
Their power swap too?
Yes.
Power.
So here's the way it works, okay? Barry and Oliver are both still them in their regular bodies, but everyone remembers them looking like the other person.
What?
That's how they do it. So, Barry looks like Barry, but everyone, when they see Barry, sees Oliver Queen. And
I can't even.
I know
what that means.
I couldn't deal with it either. So,
what does that mean?
So he doesn't have his super speed because in this universe, the person who looks like Barry Allen is Oliver Queen and doesn't have super speed.
I don't understand.
And so Oliver looks like Oliver, and when everyone sees him, they see Barry, but he can run fast now. And so they switched powers, but nothing else, but everyone sees them as the other person.
So you get to see them in their costume.
In the other costume, but it's not like the way we usually play this where we would just get to see the actor, like sometimes we'll do this kind of thing where...
Because the appeal is you get to see them in the different costumes, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And we just need a way to get to that.
Yeah. So even though they wouldn't look at all like anyone they're related to, everyone believes that they're the other person. It's really strange. And like...
I'm still not fully wrapping my head around this.
I know. It's bizarre. I've explained it the best way I can possibly explain it.
Okay, I'm trying to... So, they switch powers, but they also... Perception switches of what they look like. So when people look at Oliver Queen, they see Barry Allen.
Yeah, but also, if there's like a magazine with Oliver's face on it, it's Barry's face on it.
Isn't it a lot easier if they just switch powers? And then Ollie would dress up in the Flash costume because he's running around real fast, and Barry would...
But they can't get the obnoxious character drama out of it that way. Because they have to deal with the fact that they're married to the wrong woman, and also...
Wait, does their history change? I thought they just look different. Yes?
Well, yeah, but... it's...
Because he still Oliver Queen just looks like Barry Allen, right?
And has super speed.
But did he always have super speed?
Yes.
But how did he get his powers? And like he's also
the same way. It's just that I know it's really confusing. It's
so they switched lives, but because we want the actors to play each other's parts, we have to have the actors look for us, the audience, the way that they do.
But it's not just for us, the audience. It's also the supporting characters.
But they don't see them as they are. They see them as the other person.
Yeah, but like they physically are themselves, but the way the universe has been changed, Barry is Oliver.
Okay.
Physically.
Okay.
I know. It's insane. I've never seen anything like this.
Okay, so they're literally They switched lives.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like the world changed so that they were in the wrong bodies, but now they're in the right bodies, but with the wrong lives.
Okay, so
you see what I'm saying?
So in the way this universe is now...
I didn't mean to take this long to explain this, but...
So in the way this universe is now... But it sounds like it's explained dumb. In the way this universe exists now, Oliver is Barry and Barry is Oliver, and they've always been that way. So they literally have each other's lives, but they have the memories of who they were before? Yes?
Yeah, no, it's still more complicated than the way you're talking about it. Because when... So, Barry... So Oliver is in Barry's body, right? And he wakes up next to Iris.
Okay.
But Iris remembers herself... Like, the whole universe gets changed. Iris remembers herself being married to Barry Allen, but a Barry Allen who looks like Oliver Queen.
Right.
But it's Oliver's brain back in his regular body that everybody thinks is Barry's body.
Yeah, so
that's what it is.
Yeah, they just switched lives.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's ridiculous.
Why didn't they just make it a superfluous Elseworlds episode?
Which would have been so much more fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, let me get into this. So the deal is, I didn't mean to talk about this long, but no, it's hard to explain that and even tell if another person knows what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Because I've never seen it done like that.
No, I think I've got it now.
It's ridiculous. There are way easier ways to deal with that. But
they still have their memories, right? Like, does Oliver Queen, who is Barry Allen, remember all of his Oliver Queen lives?
Yeah.
Like, is he confused?
Yes.
Okay.
No, he remembers it the way...
God, that's dumb.
He remembers it the way we remember it.
God, that's dumb.
They've not changed their memories.
Are they writing the scripts in crayon now? Like, what?
Yeah, so... It gets worse.
People like these things?
Yeah, so Iris and the rest of their supporting cast, the rest of Flash's supporting cast, rather, don't... This starts in Flash, by the way. It's Flash and then Arrow and then an episode of Superman. Okay. So, Team Flash doesn't believe them, so they throw them in their makeshift prison.
Oh.
Even with all of the crazy things they've seen happen.
Can they even explain it to them?
Yeah, that's a good question, because it took me 5 minutes and I don't even know if I did a good job. So anyway, I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but a lot of the first episode is just about that and how weird it is, and they try to get comedy mileage out of it, and then by the end of it, they've got to go to Gotham to try to deal with this guy with the book, and they go to Gotham and they meet Batwoman, and they meet Kate Kane before we are supposed to know that she's Batwoman, and I think it's weird that this is a backdoor pilot didn't put Batwoman in a different universe. It's a more stylized Gotham inside of Arrow and Flash's universe, and we've just basically said that all the Batman stuff happened in the background while we were watching Arrow and Flash, and nobody believes that Batman exists because he's an urban legend, so Oliver still gets to kind of be the first vigilante. And by the way, Oliver's written pretty out of character through a lot of this. It's like the first crossover we ever did, with especially the writing of that character, where he's made even a little bit sillier than he is a lot in his own show, and he gets a little whiny about silly things, and he's like, but I'm supposed to be the first vigilante, and things like that. He does dumb things like in the Flash outfit, he can't help himself but to say you have failed the city, and I think that's dumb.
Yeah. Especially because he stopped saying it on his own for a couple of years.
And then we brought it back, but yeah. So anyway, the Gotham stuff looks okay. We go to Arkham. That's kind of fun. We don't see a lot of villains that we actually recognize. We just see the outside of their doors, and we have their names on the doors.
Good one.
And of course, we have to break them all out of prison, but not see any of them.
Okay.
They do that. The actress playing Batwoman, I forget her name right now, she's fine. I think she's better out of costume than in costume. I don't think she's quite figured out her in-costume persona yet. She's a little bit awkward in the suit. out of it, she seems real comfortable, and she's kind of edgy. She's a little sarcastic. I like her. I can see her having her own TV show, but it's taking her a little bit to figure out the costume persona. So they do the same thing in this that they do with Birds of Prey, where they write out Batman by just saying he left for some reason. I guess we actually know in Birds of Prey, but in this it's just he mysteriously left like 3 years ago. And so they haven't had a Batman for like 3 years, and Wayne Enterprises is like basically defunct and broken down, and she's just working out of the building. So it's weird because you think like sort of a backdoor pilot, we might get some of her supporting cast and get a sense of what that shows. I have no idea what that show looks like.
Oh, so you only meet her dad?
Huh?
Interesting.
No, I couldn't even tell you how much of her comic book stuff is going to be in the show. Like, she's barely introduced.
Interesting. Maybe they don't know. Well, do we know for sure she's getting a show?
Yeah, they've greenlit a pilot.
Okay.
We don't know if it'll go to show, but
Sure.
they have greenlit. It will.
Sure.
As many shows as they made now. Like I would be really surprised if they made a pilot and they go to series.
There's a lot to go off of. I mean, I guess there's more than just that Rocket Run. We should review that at some point before that show comes out.
Sure. No, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
But anyway, so then in Supergirl's episode, God, this all gets really silly. So I can't remember how exactly. Some of this is not sticking with me. The Monitor ends up. I can't remember if the Monitor gives him the book back or how exactly he gets the book. But the guy who did the one thing to the universe changes it again. Well, I know what it is. The Monitor's like, think bigger. And he's like, okay, so he makes himself Superman. So, and Superman's here just so that we can write him out for as many years as we don't want to have to use him anymore. That's irritating.
Wait, he makes himself Superman, but he's in the Arrowverse. How does he know Superman exists?
Because Superman came over to help out in our universe in the first episode.
Oh, okay.
They brought him over.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
that's not contrived.
That happened. And yeah, so I didn't mention this, but in the first episode, we go over to Supergirl's Earth, and on our way there, we play the Smallville theme.
What are you talking about? Yeah, it's great.
Because we're just like, somebody save me, and like Smallville as a show gets a cameo, but none of the characters are there because we don't actually go to that universe. We only do 2 universes in this. We deal with a third one because. The original 90s TV show Flash shows up just to get killed off, and just to kind of set things in motion at the beginning.
Why would you do that before Christ Something for the Earth? That's someone you can bring in.
I know. I don't know why they did that.
Unless you're going to bring in Dean Cain Superman and Tom Welling, like...
Yeah, or Birds of Prey. I mean, there's a lot of stuff they could do.
They could do Birds of Prey. They will not do Birds of Prey.
They should.
They should.
Dean Cain Superman, I don't even know if they'd have the rights
to
to do.
But how can they say it's about time if they bring up this show from over a decade ago that has an all-female cast?
That's a good point you're making. Yeah. I guess we just didn't care enough back then. I don't know what to tell you. I feel like Birds of Prey would have stayed on now.
Yeah, but it wouldn't have been as good. That's not great.
No, but I still like what I like about it.
Yeah.
Anyway, so they go to Smallville so that we can see the Smallville Kent farm, and I don't have a problem with them using that set. It's just silly that they make a big deal out of like, look, it's the Smallville set,
especially in a multiversal episode leading to a multiversal crossover.
Yeah, it's so lame and lazy, and yeah, it's awful. So we introduce their Lois Lane again, just so that we can reveal at the end of this that they set up like there's a secret, and then at the end of the whole thing, we find out that she's pregnant, and they're gonna go move to Argo City and live there for a while. And we're not gonna see Superman for a long time because he says with Supergirl there, they don't need him. It's like, well, what is she supposed to protect Metropolis too? Like. And he does what he did in this. I like him, but I don't like how they write him sometimes. Where like
he was just gonna.
You're better than me in every way, and you've surpassed me on everything. And they do, I think, kind of play it like, 'cause you're a girl, and then they write him out because we don't need him anymore. And remember what I said from the very beginning?
It should just be a universe.
Just make a universe without Superman.
But wait. So wait, if that's how he thinks. How come when she became Supergirl, he wasn't like, no, I already exist. You don't need to do this. I exist. We don't need more than one. We don't need more than... That doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make any sense. Yeah. And then immediately, like, 2 lines of dialogue in, Lois Lane starts complaining about how Clark makes more money than her.
Oh, yeah.
And I just
They're
don't...
just factually inaccurate.
I just don't
I don't
buy it.
think Lois Lane is dumb enough to believe.
I just don't buy it. Well, I mean, like, they're dating and about to get married. You'd think maybe they could look at each other's salaries.
And then she could
find
sue the
out.
crap out of the company because it's illegal to do that.
Yeah, because it's not legal to do that. I just don't understand that. She's like, well, because Superman says, like, well, you're the best reporter on the planet, and then in the planet and on the planet, and she's like, yeah, but you still make 20 cents on the dollar more than me, and I'm like, I just feel like
if that's true, you can sue the planet.
Yeah, that bothers me.
That's not true.
I don't mean to get political, but like,
at any company, because we made a law about it.
It's like, my wife's an architect. She's not making less money than men just because they're men.
It's the cumulative of all men and all women. It's not job for job.
Yeah. That like when people talk about a wage gap, like it's
all men and all women.
It's about an
other.
average. Yeah.
Yes.
And we can debate about whether or not that's a problem and what kind of a problem it is, but I don't usually
He doesn't
go here.
literally make 20 cents less than Clark for every dollar.
Yeah, I don't usually go here, but part of the reason I'm not watching these shows anymore is because they're so pandery about that stuff, and I think it's insulting. It really bugs me. I'm sure I'm going to rub some people the wrong way mentioning that, but it bothers me. So anyway, when the scientist guy becomes Superman, he just becomes Superman and is then played by Tyler Hoechlin, who plays Superman. Even though we did the body switch thing with the other 2 actors playing it, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's weird.
Okay.
And then there's a big fight. And, and I didn't tell you about the Scarecrow gas. In the previous episode, they do the Scarecrow gas, which just makes Barry and Oliver see their worst enemies and think each other are their worst enemies so they can fight each other. Because you gotta have a superhero fight in a crossover. You gotta have that.
Especially
that's not what
in each other's
fear gas does.
each other's powers.
And you know what's even more awkward about it? Even though...
Who is their worst enemy? Who do they see?
Well, I have to explain what they see first because it's weird. So, even though they don't have each other's memories, they see each other's villains because they're in each other's bodies.
That's dumb.
Yeah.
So reality.
So one of them sees Reverse Flash, and at least it's the Wells Flash. We haven't seen that in a while. And then the other one is of course Malcolm Merlyn.
Isn't he a good guy now?
He's dead now, but
wasn't he like kind of a good guy before he died?
He kind of oscillated.
That's not your greatest enemy.
He would
Wouldn't it be like Ra's al Ghul or something?
Yeah, that would have been better.
They don't have arch nemesis.
Not really. It wouldn't have been. Well, no. Flash definitely does.
Oh, sure.
It is definitely Reverse Flash in that show.
Sure.
No, sorry. I'll put my foot down on that. They've done a good job of giving him an actual arch nemesis. But with Arrow, you would have said Slade until the Mirakuru wore off, and they get along now. They were friends last season. I wish we used him more because I love that actor. But see, now that the Suicide Squad's done, they can use him, which is weird because he's not even in that movie. But
well, no, I think he was taken out because he was going to be in the Batman movie.
Oh, is that what it was?
Maybe.
Okay. Anyway, I've talked about this too long. I just wanted to tell you some things that happened in it because it's ridiculous. And then again, at the end of it, they set up for Crisis on Infinite Earths, which makes me wonder if they're going to try to put the universes together finally and have Supergirl actually in the same universe.
No, we don't have any changes.
Yeah, because whenever they do a big universe-changing event, they only change one aspect of it. Let me see if there's anything else that's really important that we talk about. You had a couple of solo things you wanted to talk about. Let me mention real quick. I'm not going to talk much about this. I watched the first episode of the new Carmen Sandiego show.
The one that looks like it's like it's an auto insurance commercial with its animation.
Have you watched it though?
No, is it good?
Because the animation's fine in context.
Okay, I just saw a picture. I was like, I like that.
I liked it a lot.
Okay, well, I mean, it's by the Voltron people. Like, I assumed it was good.
I was impressed with it.
Okay.
It seems surprisingly sophisticated for a kids show, and
that's how Voltron is.
And immediately start setting up a lot of really cool mythology. Like her background is really interesting. They keep doing flashbacks where she's a kid in a like a school for becoming a thief,
Okay.
and it's a lot of fun.
Okay, I'll have to check it out. Because I was excited for that show when they announced it, and I saw the art style, I was like, that looks like,
I see why you're saying that, but like in context, I thought it was really cool.
I can't remember what that.
The insurance thing.
Yeah,
that's
the
what you're
insurance
talking
thing.
about,
Yeah. That's what that immediately looked like to me.
I mean, I didn't think of that when I was watching it, but like, no, it's good.
Okay, because I just saw a still frame. Like, I didn't watch the trailer. I just saw a still frame.
Yeah.
That looks like insurance.
I'm not going to tell you anything about it.
Okay.
I just think you should watch it.
Okay.
I really liked it. And it's a 2-part pilot. I haven't watched the second part yet, but I really like the first part.
Is it Indiana Jonesy? Is it like Treasure Hunter World, Globe?
Well,
Trotty?
we're doing a lot more origin stuff at the beginning. Yeah, I would say it's more like spy thrillery.
Interesting.
I mean, it's a heist thing. Like,
interesting. Okay. I guess that makes sense.
Yeah. So far, it doesn't feel like Indiana Jones as much as more like I don't know. I'm trying to think of a good comparison. You know, something like Danger Diabolic or something like.
Like a great Catwoman show.
Yeah. I mean, it's a heist show.
Interesting.
And it's more from her perspective. Like, we're actually following her. She's like the good guy.
Did you know anything about geography?
A little bit. Some of that. It's fun, and the kid. So like, it opens with like 5 minutes in present day, and then we keep cutting back to the past, and just to kind of establish what she's like and how how good she is at what she does, right? And she has a kid that gives her information on a wire, and she just refers to him like she doesn't know his real name, and he just goes by Player, and I think that's fun. But yeah, there's a lot of immediately references to video games and things.
Oh, cool.
And even I think a little bit of the game show. But yeah, it's great. I've been waiting for Gumshoe. That hasn't come up yet. But it seems like every episode, you're probably going to have someone at least twice say where in the world is Carmen Sandiego, or like where you're wearing something. But it's fun. I kind of, it seems like your kind of thing. I think
I'll try it out. I'll try it out.
Did you want to talk about any of your stuff, or do you want to table it for next time? You've got Letterkenny?
Yeah, I got Letterkenny, I got Mazenkeiser.
Mazenkeiser.
So Mazenkeiser is a OVA that came out in the early 2000s. Mazinger Z is the first ever piloted giant robot, because Go Nagai is genius.
You've told me about this.
Yeah. So this is an update to that, but also it's a sequel to no particular version of Mazenkeiser Z. But it's also, like, it's not canon with anything else. Like, it's kind of like doing a Batman thing, where it's like, this is in a Mazenkeiser Z universe.
Okay, sure.
Because, like, it's still the bad guy's name is Dr. Hell.
That's awesome.
Just really briefly, like, no one can get a hold of this. Like, this is, like, an easy to get a hold of thing. It's awesome. It's, like, it's metal. It's super, like, the robots bleed. Like, I think it's supposed to be oil, but, like, they punch each other's arms off and just geysers of blood. Just like brown
geysers of blood.
Yeah, because it's oil. No, this is awesome. If you like giant robot things, especially the more, like, super robot-y things, not the real robot-y things, but, like, the, like, real ridiculous stuff, this is awesome. It's real, just, like, ridiculous hyper-masculine, like...
It's, like, real fast-paced and...
Yeah, it's only... was it, like, 6 episodes, something like that? Because it's just an OVA. I think it's 6 episodes. I would recommend it. It's really good. The animation's beautiful. The action scenes are fantastic. It's good. It's really good.
Cool.
So the other thing I want to talk about is Letterkenny. I don't know if I ever talked about the first 2 seasons of Letterkenny.
I don't think you did.
Okay, so Letterkenny is a Canadian sitcom that I would describe as Sorkin-esque in their dialogue. Like, real fast. Like, sometimes, like, someone will say a word, and then they will just, like, do puns on that word for, like, 2 minutes. And it makes me angry because I'm not that fast. I'm like, neither are they. They wrote it. Like, that's not the same thing.
See, I have that sometimes with sitcoms. Like, why can't I be that clever in the moment?
Yeah.
Oh, but they had writers.
So Letterkenny is this Canadian sitcom about these Hicks. Like, they self-identify as Hicks. They, like, live on a farm in this small town of Letterkenny. And they just, I don't know, they do things. Like, it's a sitcom. Like, I don't even know how to explain, like, exactly the premise of the show. for a while, just season 1 and 2 was on Hulu, but we knew there were more because it's a Canadian program, and we just weren't getting it. Every season is 7 episodes, with the 7th episode being like nebulously canonical, where it's like a holiday special, except for in season 6 where the 7th episode is important. But like the holiday specials are great because they have traditions for every holiday, and so like as we're going through the holidays, we're learning their traditions. Christmas is insane. It's called Three Wise Men. You get a shot of Canadian whiskey, a shot of American whiskey, and a shot of, I think it's Irish whiskey. And everyone takes a shot, like, does all 3 of them, like, immediately.
Wow.
At midnight, turning over to Christmas. And everybody goes and throws up. It's weird in how sophisticated its comedy is, while also being insanely lowbrow, because they're hicks. And it's like, they have really smart conversations about really dumb things. Which is kind of the reverse of Always Sunny in Philadelphia, which is really dumb people trying to talk about things that like is way above them. Like they try to talk about like really nuanced like political things. And they're just dumb. They don't get it. This is the opposite. They're just kind of like dumb people, but they're not. They're really smart and they're really well read. And then
so like just kind of conforming to a stereotype.
Well, but they're not.
Yeah.
Like. They'll have like...
But they self-identify as Hicks.
Yes. But it doesn't make them dumb.
No.
But like, they'll have long conversations about...
But I just mean like, or like, are they conforming to stereotypes in that they're identifying as a stereotype they don't actually fall into because of like what they look like or something?
But they do fall into it. That's
okay.
They're smart and well read, but like they'll have a 5-minute conversation about appropriate and inappropriate times to fart.
Okay.
Like it's like that.
Yeah.
Well, like they talk about dumb things, but smart. They smartly talk about dumb things. Not always, but like they're like good old boys. But like if good old boys like read like a lot. Like,
it sounds like the Hick cameos in Deadpool 2 when Cable shows up.
Yes.
It's like that.
Yes. It's like that. I don't know how to sell this show other than just like sit somebody down like here, watch this.
Yeah.
Because it's really good. My one main complaint is they're also really good at killing running jokes before they get old. They're really good at that.
That's good.
Or they'll drop a joke for a while and bring it back. Where it's like, oh, we haven't done this joke in a while, so it's like we'll bring it back. But like, it's like they stop it before it gets too much, and they're very good at that. My biggest problem is I don't like any of the relationship stuff. It always...
Ain't that always the way?
It always feels like they put 2 characters together, and then they just come up with a bunch of reasons for them to not be together. The worst one, I think, is actually in the 6th season, where this guy is with this woman, and they do an episode where, like, once or twice, they're like, you really shouldn't be texting her that much. Like, he's always texting her, like hey, how are you? Like you're checking up on her? And, like, girls don't like that. And the next episode, like, it's a problem. It wasn't there for the preceding, like, 3 or 4 episodes. It's like that. So I don't agree with, like, any of the choices they make with any of the characters relationship-wise. But otherwise, it's a wonderful show.
You would wait through it because it's clever.
Yeah. Season 6 seemed to dip a little bit. I don't know what it is, but like they would go on their long run-on conversations, and I started to get bored. I didn't have that in any of the other seasons, so I'm not sure if that's just I watched a bunch of it once and I was burnt out, or if it legitimately is a dip in quality. I'm not sure, but I do hope it doesn't continue. Also, they have a tendency to end seasons with musical montages. I don't think they work. Oftentimes, I don't know what I'm supposed to take from them. But yeah, no, it's really good. I recommend people watch it.
As I mentioned earlier in the Omnibus, I have not had a chance to watch any Punisher yet. I am going to wait and talk about that when I can get Vince over to talk about it with me, probably, if he wants to. And because he's not loving it, so I don't even know if he was going to want to talk about it. But I'll, if not, I'll talk about it on my own next time. And then we were going to watch the Deadly Class pilot, and we just didn't get to it.
Oh, I
so
totally forgot
we
about
may
that.
try to get to that.
Because we tried to watch that one day, and it didn't work.
We couldn't find it anywhere, and because it was on YouTube at one point, and then it wasn't, and then it aired the next week, but we just didn't get to it. So anyway, I just want to mention, we will try to get to that next time. We're going to move on now. Thanks as always for watching. We sure appreciate it. And we have more Omnibus for you. It's getting late. We're getting down to the wire. But we have just a couple more things to do. So we will see you here in just a little bit. Keep watching, won't you? And in the meantime, I was Captain Logan.
And I was Eric.
See you later, folks.